All right.
Hey,
Hey, welcome to Rancho, everyone. How's it going?
Going good. Welcome to Rancho United. This is the very fun, upbeat
This is
service.
Yes.
The service
This
gets
is
a little
the-
crazy.
We've
The
been working
haze has
hard
already
all
started.
week long for this moment, right?
For this moment.
For this
Absolutely.
moment.
It's going to be great. So we're going to start off with a song called Rattle.
Rattle. Yes.
And, this song is not like other worship songs. You hear a worship song, you're like, okay, that's a worship song.
Yeah.
This is not that vibe. This is different.
This one's awesome. It's my favorite song.
This
You
is
always
like,
say that.
I know.
Is this actually your favorite song?
she's got a lot of
Well,
favorites.
it's up
She
there.
does.
It's
All
up
She's
right.
got a lot of favorites.
So this is talking about kind of dry bones rattling and God bringing life. This is a vision out of the Old Testament, out of Ezekiel, that God brings life to dead things. And it's a lot of fun. So you guys want to lead us on?
Yeah, let's do some things.
All right, stand on up. Let's do this.
Do it.
Two, three.
Come on, if you know these words, let's sing them out together.
Saturday was silent, surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Pentecostal fire is stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon.
Resurrection power runs in my veins too. I believe this Sing this out, say. People come together, strangers, neighbors, our blood is one. Children of generations of every nation of kingdom come. And don't let your heart be troubled, and hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Just fix your eyes on this one truth: God is madly in love with you. Take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember when hell comes around. Don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Just fix your eyes on this one truth: God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where hell comes from. Come on, now. Lord, we thank you, we thank you. Come on, let's sing this, say. Swing wide on your heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath repeats the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Come on, sing that out, church. Sing that again. Say, swing wide on you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. On creation, everything with breath repeats the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Sing it again, say. Swing wide on your heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down.
Alex, play a little something. I'm just going back here to, I realized I forgot my phone. And I was waiting on a text from...
Scripture.
I was waiting on a text from Jesus.
You got a little psalm that you're going to read us?
There's so many pockets in this coat.
Evan, do you want to use mine?
That's all right, I got it.
Okay.
Well, bless the Lord, oh my soul,
The Lord, oh my soul.
and all that is within me.
That's the wrong
I was doing a different one. So I wanted to share this. It was very important for me to go back there because I wanted to share this. I wanted to share this scripture before we do this next song. It is a great example of having an issue, having a problem, having a situation that you're going through, right? But in acknowledging that you're going through that, but putting your focus and attention on who God is. This is a psalm of David. David's going through a rough time, and he acknowledges that, but he compares it to the steadfastness of our God. So Psalms 102, 24 through 27 says, "Oh my God, I say, take me not away in the midst of my days. You whose years endure throughout all generations. Of old you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. They will wear out like a garment. You will change them like a robe, and they will pass away. But you are the same, and your years have no end." It's a beautiful verse that really just says, hey, I'm hoping that this is a thing that doesn't happen. But one thing that I do know, and I don't have to just hope, I know for a fact, is that you are the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
That's right. And I love so much how he speaks with what God will do, what God is doing. And he says, in the midst of his trial, in the midst of his pain, and he says, you will remain, you will change. And so, change them, not change. But it ties in so perfectly with what we're discussing today. Just where is our focus? Is our focus on our problem, or is it on our God? And how we can just change that focus, have that faith, and proclaim that God will remain, that God is faithful. And that's what I love about this next song, is that it has those proclamations that you were a healer then, you are a healer now. You were a savior then, you are saving now. You're a savior now. And so we get to sing out those proclamations this morning as well.
Yeah. And so as we sing this out, just know that this song, we're singing truth. The same God that we're calling on is the same God that was David's God, is our God. Amen? So let's sing this out together.
Jacob, whose love endures through generations. I know that you will keep your covenant. I'm calling on the God of Moses, the one who opened up the ocean. I need you now to do the same thing for me. Yeah, for me.
Come on, say this, say.
Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. I'm calling on the God of Mary, whose favor rests upon the lowly. I know with you all things are possible. I'm calling on the God of David, who made a shepherd boy courageous.
Come on, church, sing this right here, say.
I may not face Goliath, but I've got my own giants. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. I need sing this. You heard your children, you hear your children. You are the same God, you are the same God. You answered prayers back then, and you will answer now. You are the same. Lift your voice, sing that out. You are the same God. You are providing. You are providing. Yes, you are God. The same God. Same God. You moved in power then. God moved in power now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a healer then. You are a healer now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a savior then. You are a savior now. You are the same God. Same God. You are the same God. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. Oh God, my God, I need you. My God, I need you now. How I need you. You're the rock of ages. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. You're faithful. You have always
He's a faithful God, amen. Amen. You guys may be seated this morning.
All right. Well, Jenna, I don't know if people know this, but you are our theater director at Rancho Christian.
I am. That's
And
my job.
you have a busy week coming
Ooh,
up.
a very busy week. We have dress rehearsal week or tech week for our spring musical Bye Bye Birdie next weekend.
Yay.
We have 3 performances. We've got Friday night at 7, and then Saturday at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And you should all come. They're really great.
You should. Yeah, it's tons of fun.
Absolutely.
I've got 2 daughters in it, so I'm
And
kind
they're
of
real
like,
good.
I can't
I'm
wait.
Big fan.
Okay, so you can get your tickets today after?
You can get your tickets online. There's a cute little QR code on the poster if you want to take a picture of that. Or we got friends who are in the cast who are selling tickets outside after service today. They're pretty great. Talk with them. They'll give you all the scoop. And it's pretty exciting. And also, you're going to want to buy your tickets ahead of time because prices will be going up at the door.
Ah, see what you
Plan
did there.
ahead,
All right.
plan ahead.
Okay, Jenna, thank you so much. Let's say
Thank
thank you to
you.
Jenna for all she does. And Jessica, isn't Megan supposed to be out here?
I don't know where she's at.
She's
Hey, I'm right here.
There you go.
Ah, there you are. Hey, how's it going?
Heck, hey, Alex.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
You're here to talk about youth today?
I know. I'm so excited. The summer is like the summer of fun and
I
youth.
know.
Like,
And we've got Jessica.
Jessica.
Hello.
Let's welcome Jessica. It's her first Mugar.
Jessica
thank you.
has been volunteering in youth for how long now?
For about 2 months.
Yeah, so she's pretty new, but already irreplaceable. We love her to death.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's gonna go to my head.
Yes, as it should.
Now, we cannot do ministry without volunteers like you, so we're
We
so
cannot.
thankful.
Thank
How
you.
did you make that decision to kind of jump in?
I just wanted to help out. I talked to Steve, he talked to Megan, he connected me, and the rest is history.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, we're so thankful for
Thank
you.
you.
She met me and the rest is history.
Oh,
That's what
There we
she
go.
said.
It all went to your head. But anyway, we've got some business
That's
to
right.
take care of. If you are new this morning, we want to say welcome and thank you for being here. And by the way, every week it's so cool to see so many new people
I
here.
know.
And,
Good morning.
So
It's
welcome.
Nice to see you all.
If you would like to text the word new to 951-379-3795, you can take a picture of that. You can text us. We'll text you back. It's a kind of a cool way to get started here at Rancho. If you're with us in person, we'd love to give you this gift at our Welcome Center. You can visit us
best.
after service.
Those are the best. I have two of
It
them.
is. And I want to say good morning to our online crowd.
Yes, good morning online. Also, if you have any questions whatsoever about anything happening in the Rancho world, we want to invite you to email us at info@rancho.tv, as well as if you want to give towards our mission here, towards our ministries, or the missions that we support, you can do that on rancho.tv/giving as well.
Everything's there. Now, Jessica, it is almost summer, and I know you guys have been putting together a crazy summer
We
for
have
youth.
a lot of events going on this summer. So some are park days, Knott's Berry Farm days, beach days, and most of all, we have summer camp. Escape.
Summer camp!
We're excited.
Summer camp.
We're super, super excited.
I think I hear something coming over.
They're excited too.
Now, summer camp is like the pinnacle of
It is.
the events, right?
It absolutely
And I know
is.
this because I am a former youth pastor.
That's right. You
That's
are
right.
a youth. I feel like every staff member here has like come up. It's like the rite of passage.
That's how you
gotta be a
start.
youth
You know,
pastor.
you see how you do with the kids, and if you survive,
Yeah.
then you can kind of
Then
move
you
on.
can move up. Not me though.
Not
I'm just
Megan.
now,
No,
yeah.
we
I'm
kept
just
you with the
getting
kids.
up.
But anyway, I brought just a couple pictures just to prove that I
Oh,
was
yes,
a youth
let's see
pastor.
'em.
So
I wanna
there we
see.
go, right
Oh,
there.
nice.
Yes.
I like the hats.
I was leading worship on ukuleles. It was
a little
so
more
much fun.
talented
And then
than me.
our summer camp, we went to a river. And it was like, I can't
Ooh.
believe parents actually let me take their
Yeah, it
kids
was a different time.
on this river where you could literally drown and die. And that's what we
Different
did.
time back then.
What do you guys do?
Well, ours is a little better than that, honestly. Like
We're gonna one up this.
Yeah, we're gonna one up this for sure. We have in 2 weeks, we're gonna be showing, or 3 weeks, we're gonna be showing our promo, our recap video. So we want you guys to come back and we're gonna leave you guys waiting for that.
There it is, by the
That's
way.
great. Oh yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that's nothing compared to what we do. You guys will be blown away when you see our recap video.
Okay, but the real deal with camp is we want every single student who wants to go to be able to go. And in order to do that, we have to raise some money, right?
We do. Last year we gave over $10,000 in scholarships so that every single camper that wanted to go could go. We took over 100 kids to camp. We put on this entire camp for them. It's our whole staff. It's amazing. But this year we get to do fundraisers, which we didn't get to do last year. So I'm pretty excited. May 22nd, which is in 3 weeks, we're going to be doing a pancake breakfast outside through all the services. So you guys can really help us just by coming and eating pancakes. So skip breakfast that morning, come out. The youth will be making your pancakes for you, and I trust me, it'll be amazing.
Sounds like
You
fun.
will love 'em, yes.
You guys are doing a car wash as well?
We're gonna do a car wash on June 19th during services as well. But it's gonna be like a car wash-a-thon. So if you just bring your car wash and get it done for free, then the kids earn money through their sponsors. So it's like a win-win.
Very
Free car wash
exciting.
on Sunday.
Okay, and then the last thing is this is going to be your first summer camp.
Yes,
Yes.
I am so excited. I'm a little nervous because everybody was so enthusiastic that I thought I was getting punked. But it turns out that everybody is really just excited, and I'm excited to be part of that.
She really did. We were like so excited. She's like, are you guys being sarcastic? Because we
joking?
were like, it's the greatest ever.
Right.
No, it really is.
I've got some advice, again, as a former youth pastor. When you go up there,
Okay.
earplugs, and bring some extra deodorant that you might want to give away to a
We have to
student.
give away.
I'll
Just
bring a
little
whole
bit.
box.
For sure.
There you go.
Just a whole box.
We got you.
And guess what, everybody? That's what's going
going
on
on
at
at
Rancho.
Rancho.
Let's welcome up Scott.
All right, well, thank you all. I appreciate it. And Alex, we are very much excited about summer camp because that's kind of how, for a lot of people, we get started in our faith, right?
That is, and for me personally, like I remember, it was middle school, I went up to Hume Lake,
Yeah.
and I kind of made that decision to follow Christ. I also found out from an older student about the band called Led Zeppelin. Changed my life forever.
So you're a classic rock guy.
I'm a
just
classic
forever
rock guy.
because
I'm
of
a
camp.
all rock. Hey,
So, all right.
we can't wait to hear from
take
you.
Care. All right, you got it. So summer camp is coming up, so get some more information out there, and we want everybody to go, as we've said before. And if you want to help sponsor a kid, you can certainly do that outside as well. All right. Today's gonna be a big day, I can just kind of tell, because we're gonna talk directly about worry, anxieties, depressions. Does that sound like fun so far? Are we in good spot? All right. Most of us deal with these kinds of things, these anxieties of life, the heaviness of worry, and we're talking about focus this series. It's a 6-week series on focus. And Jesus today in the Sermon on the Mount is saying, hey, listen, if you are a worrier, I got a few things for you to pay attention to. So we are going to see some cool things done today. For those of us who are dealing with the stresses of life, the anxieties of life, the worries of life, and I'm talking about the stuff that is internally yours that only you know about, the stuff in your family, the stuff in your workplace, the stuff even globally. If you're carrying these stresses, anxieties, and worries, today should be a big day for you. Because Jesus says this about focus. He says, if our focus is good, everything's good. If our focus is bad, everything's bad. So this is serious stuff, right? Last week we talked about in the Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus says, when your eye is good, your whole body is filled with light. When your eye is bad, your whole body is filled with darkness. And he's talking here about focus. If we're focused on the good, our life is full of light. And so we're talking about what is this good focus Jesus has for us. Now, this idea of focus is a big deal because it determines the course of life. What we focus on determines the course of our entire life. Let me give you a little example of this. Back in ancient times, they didn't have modern navigation devices. So imagine you're on the open seas at night. To me, that is a very scary thing. And you are trying to navigate where you're going. How could you possibly know where you're going in the open seas? What's the answer? Stars. Which stars you focus on. So if you were navigating, you try to find the North Star, which shouldn't be all that hard. You find the North Star, and then depending on the degrees away from the horizon, you know where you are in terms of latitude. And then you look for Orion's belt and the far left star on Orion's belt, and then from there, you will know how far you are in terms of longitude, and you would be able to navigate just by focusing on the stars. What we focus on determines the course of our entire life. But here's the problem with focus. In many respects, it seems as though the things we focus on are entirely out of our control because things just pop into our head. Our visual focus just kind of happens. Our emotional focus just sort of happens. So are we really in control of our focus? Is our focus in our control or out of control? And here's the answer, and it's an absolute scientific fact plus a biblical fact. The answer is yes. Focus is both a little out of control, yet part of it is thoroughly in our control. So how do we navigate focus when some of it seems to be out of our control? Some of it just comes in our head and in our heart. So how do we gain control where we think there is no control in what we focus on? So let's talk about the human brain. How does the human brain focus? Well, first of all, the human brain is an absolute miracle. It is fascinating. This 3 pounds of jelly in your brain is among the greatest miracles in all of creation, no joke. It is astounding. And some people say, well, yeah, this brain is powerful like a supercomputer. Well, our brain is almost nothing like a supercomputer. I have in my pocket my entire life. This is a 5 terabyte hard drive. My entire life is on this hard drive. Every sermon I've ever preached is on this hard drive, so you know how important this is to humanity, right? Every song, 25,000 songs that I've downloaded. Yes, I have downloaded songs. I know that sounds crazy. Every picture is backed up on this hard drive. My entire family life is backed up on this hard drive. It is everything, 5 terabytes, most of it's used. And we might think that's astounding, but it's really kind of dumb. This thing just writes ones and zeros. That's all it does. It just writes ones and zeros, so it's kind of dumb. As amazing as it is for a human being's entire life to be in this little device, it's really kind of dumb just writing ones and zeros. And so this morning, I downloaded an image of a $1 bill and put it on this drive. So if I were to say, hey, drive, pull up this $1 bill image, it would come up and look like this. A pretty well perfect $1 bill, right? 100 years from now, if I plugged this into a computer and pulled up that same drive, the same ones and zeros would appear on the screen as a perfect $1 bill. But it's just pretty dumb, reading and writing in $1, ones and zeros. If I were to ask you, with this incredible miracle of a human brain, to draw a picture of a dollar, this is what you would draw. And we might think, well, your dumb hard drive sure seems a little bit better than my dumb brain. And I would understand that because there's something fascinating about the human brain. The human brain actually doesn't store anything. Science has come to the realization that the brain doesn't store anything. This thing stores all kinds of stuff. It stores trillions of ones and zeros that regurgitates perfect images and videos and sermons, right? But the human brain stores nothing. There's a lot of discussion about whether you can download the information stored in your human brain. There is no information stored in your human brain. Isn't that kind of weird? And some of you are saying, yes, I'm sitting next to somebody that clearly has no information stored in their human brain. What actually happens is with every stimulus right now, wherever you're looking, live and online, you're looking at me, looking at the screen, looking at whatever, gazing at the baseball game on your phone, whatever you're doing right now, with every image, with every stimuli, with every smell, with every touch, with every taste, your brain just changes a little bit. Just changes. Doesn't store anything, just changes. And all of these neurons and all of these connectors and all of these proteins, they just kind of change with every stimuli, giving you the ability to think about a $1 bill and be able to draw a little cartoon sketch that is ridiculous, but gives you sort of an emotional memory, not a data memory, but an emotional memory of what a $1 bill looks like and feels like. And so you can use that information. The brain is truly, truly remarkable. There are 86 billion neurons in your head with 100 trillion interconnections. And each of those 100 trillion interconnections contains 1,000 different proteins that exist in every connection point, each of those with different strengths. And every time your brain thinks of anything or is stimulated by anything, all those things just tweak for your entire life. And here's the thing that's even weirder than that. As your brain just tweaks and shifts, doesn't store anything, but just tweaks and shifts, 95% of its work happens without you. Your consciousness is 5% of your brain's activity. The things you overtly think about are only 5% of your brain's activity. The other 95% of your brain's activity, just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking constantly, happens without your knowledge. It just happens. So if I were to throw you this hard drive, did you have to think about that? You did not have to think about that. You knew, well, maybe you did, but you didn't have to think about it. Your brain just said, some knucklehead's tossing you something, get ready. And your hands immediately went up. You didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to ponder, why is this knucklehead throwing a hard drive at my face? I better raise my hands right now. I better put my hands at this angle. I better watch for the trajectory of this thing. Our consciousness does not have to think about any of it. But the 95% of our brain that just works on its own without us, immediately, in a split second, your hands were up and you were ready to go. You're clearly an athlete. Right? That's just what happens. Driving is 95% subconscious. You don't have to think about it, you just do, right? Talking, 95% subconscious. Your brain just works. And so what happens as your brain works is it scans, always scanning. What is your brain scanning for? Your brain is scanning for threats. Because your brain is designed to stay alive. Your brain knows to keep this thing alive, it's got to constantly be working and constantly be churning, looking for threats. Are you a threat? Are you a threat? Is this a threat? Because if this brain's going to live and you're going to live, it has to know threats, perceive threats, process threats, and make you react to threats without even thinking about it, right? So here's the good news. As a result of all that, we are wired for worry. We are wired for worry. It's the worry part of our brain that keeps us alive. It's the worry part of our brain that says, you better not cross the street until you look both ways, right? If you didn't worry at all, you'd go, there's probably nothing in the street, and you're a goner, right? So worry keeps us alive. It keeps us looking for threats, and the brain is processing threats. We are wired for worry. Now, here's how this kind of plays out in weird ways. A couple of nights ago, I woke up at 3:46 a.m., and you know that feeling your eyes are open, and you think, it feels too early. And you look at your clock with this hopeful thing. I pray it is 5-something, but no, it's 3-something. That means it's over. That's just what it means. I wake up at 3:46 a.m., look over at the clock, and there's this weird, nagging, negative thought that just appeared. The 95% of my brain that's just churning without me, somehow in its subconsciousness said, Treadway, you're going to worry about this thing at 3:46 a.m. And honestly, it's not even a big deal. It's not even a big worry. If I told you what it was, I won't because it's totally embarrassing. It wasn't even a thing, not even a threat. But at 3:46, sure felt like a threat. And your brain's saying, worry, worry, worry. This is a threat, threat, threat. And so I'm not sleeping. And so I'm battling this, right? So how can my brain respond when it's firing off subconscious worry? Well, I'm a pretty good sleeper. Don't mean to brag, but I'm a pretty good sleeper most nights, so I don't have a pattern of waking up in the middle of the night. But I thought, you know what? I've seen the cartoons. I'm just going to count. So I started counting really slow. Got to 38 and I'm lights out, right? So that was just a little practice that as the subconscious worry fires in, maybe there's a way to bury that subconscious worry with a conscious activity. And that is essentially what Jesus is talking about here, because he's referring to these people 2,000 years ago who had a lot to worry about. These people were poor, they were peasants, they were invaded by the Roman Empire, they were essentially slaves of the Roman Empire, they were taxed to poverty, they had no hope for the future, they were victims of violence. So these people had a lot to worry about. And so Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount tells them what to do with the worry. So what do we do with the worry? Our brains are wired for worry. 95% of this churning activity happens without our consciousness, and is looking for problems and pouring those problems into our thoughts and into our emotions. And so most of us live with stresses and anxieties and worries that just happen through the day because that's what our brain does. So Jesus says, what are you going to do with that worry? And he says this in Matthew 6:24. He says, to a worrying audience, no one can serve two masters. No one can serve two masters. Now, as I've heard that passage preached over and over again, it's usually sort of in a threatening tone. It's like, okay, well, no one can serve two masters. You either serve one or the other. You either serve God or money. Which is it, right? And that's kind of how this passage is presented. But that's not at all what Jesus is talking about. Jesus here is talking about worry. What are you going to put your trust in? Are you going to put your trust in the things that are the physical things around you? If that's what you're going to trust in, the physical things around you, which do include money and health and the tangible, working of this world. If you're going to put your trust in the circumstance of this world, get ready for a life full of stress. Then Jesus says, if you're going to put your trust in God and his goodness and his faithfulness and in relationships, you're going to have a life that's full of light. So he goes on to say this in the very next verse. So don't worry about everyday life. Get that? Don't worry about everyday life. Whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? Jesus is saying there's two worlds that you could put your trust in. There's two worlds that you can put the foundation of your life on. Is it the things of this world that are temporary, the things of this world that kind of get corrupt and decay and rot? Or are you going to put your life on the foundation of God himself, his goodness, his faithfulness, his grace towards you, and the relationship that he wants to have with you, and the relationships around you? What are you going to choose? You can't serve two masters. If you are going to put your faith in everyday circumstances, get ready for a life of worry. But Jesus says there's an option. Professor Tim Kasser, he studied depressions and anxieties for 30 years, and he came up with this conclusion. He says, the more we believe we can buy and display our way out of sadness and into happiness, the more likely we are to become depressed and anxious. He and other people in his field do realize that there are some chemical imbalances that can contribute to anxiety and depression. But when you look at the arc of Western history, and particular American history, the more we focus on buying and selling and marketing and things and stuff and the next thing we're going to buy and the next car and the next house and the next upgrade and what we're going to wear and how we're going to look and what are people going to think, that increases anxieties and stresses year after year after year. The American culture is careening headlong into near permanent stress, anxiety, and worry. Why? Because we are more permanently embracing the things of this world. How do I look? How am I perceived? What do people think of me? What am I going to drive? Where am I going to live? How great of a place can I live in? It's just this constant stress that's building because we're placing our faith on the material instead of the relational. It's a big deal. This is called junk values. If we put our faith and trust on the things of this world, the tangible around us that rot and corrupt and are destroyed, that's called junk values. Like junk food messes with your body, junk values mess with your soul. They mess with your emotions. So Jesus says, we're going to get this thing squared away. And he uses several illustrations. He's trying to calm everybody down, right? Because they're worried about this life and here and now and the things around them. Jesus is trying to calm them down. So he says, hey, listen, look at the birds of the air. Look at the lilies of the field. Look at the wildflowers, right? God's taking care of his creation. He will take care of you. Relax. Relax a little. He says in verse 26, look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns? For your heavenly Father feeds them. And aren't you more valuable than them? Put that in your brain. Aren't you more valuable than the birds? Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? There's two things there Jesus focuses on. One is he encourages us to rest in knowing you are treasured by God. What does he say? He says, listen, the birds of the field, they're fine. They're taken care of. They're fantastic. They're not worried about anything, right? But God values you more than them, which means we are the most valued treasure of God. That's what he's saying here in the Sermon on the Mount. And that should cause us to worry a little bit less because God's got us. He doesn't promise everything's going to work the way we want, but whether things go for good or things go for bad, God's just got us and he's with us. And he'll take care of us. Rest in knowing you are treasured by God. You are God's treasure. Now, a lot of times in church life with church brains, we think, well, God is the most valuable thing, and we need to most value and most treasure God. And I'm not going to argue with that. But if we most value and most treasure God, what we learn from Jesus is he looks down at us and he says, you are the most valued and you are the most treasured by me. And our religious brains kick in and they say, well, if I'm good, God will treasure me. If I'm religious, God will treasure me. And God says, no, I just treasure you. Just believe it. Well, if I stop doing these bad things and start doing these good things, God, then you'll treasure me, right? I have to do my part to get you to treasure me. And God says, no, you don't have to do anything. I just treasure you. I value you more than anything else in creation. God values you more than he values the cosmos. He values you more than he values the planet. He values you more than he values the animals. He values you more than he values all of the cosmos. He values you. He treasures you right where you're at with all you've done and all you will do, with all your good and with all your bad. He simply treasures you. And that should give us some peace. Even when things don't work our way, it should give us some peace, and worry should start to fade just a little bit because we know that God has got us, values us, treasures us. I love Psalm 139. It's a very famous passage. We use it quite often around here. The psalmist says, how precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. And this psalmist who's going through it right here, he's going through struggle, just rests in the fact that God's attention is always towards him. God's attention is always towards you. His thoughts towards you are eternal and always good. He is not angry with you. He's not disappointed with you. He certainly wants you to live a life of being loved by him and loving the world around you for sure. That's what he wants from you. But he wants you to know above all else, you are a treasure to him. Jesus says that to try to calm our worries, to try to calm our stress. And then he says this sentence that is almost eye-rolling. He says, you know what? Worries don't add a single moment to your life. Now, if you say that to somebody prone to worry, they get kind of mad. So if somebody worries and you say to them, hey, you know, that doesn't really accomplish anything, they're going to get really upset with you because they kind of know that. Like, I know. I'm stressed. I'm worried about what I don't even have any idea. I'm stressed. I'm worried about things in the future that I don't even know are going to happen. And it doesn't do any good. Worry almost always does only harm, but worriers know that, right? So Jesus kind of pairs these two thoughts up. If you are a worrier, if you carry stress, know God treasures you. And because he treasures you, he doesn't want you to carry the burdens of worry and stress and anxiety. He doesn't want you to carry it. Worry is mostly useless. And rest in that. Rest in knowing that worry is mostly useless. Now, when I say worry is mostly useless, it means there is some usefulness in worry, right? We were driving to San Diego a couple of days ago, driving down the freeway, super speed limit. This motorcycle comes flying by, had to have been doing at least 100. I'm thinking 100 plus for sure, just flying down the freeway, probably 120 miles an hour on a motorcycle. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you probably should worry a little bit, right? You don't have quite enough worry. Oh, I'll be fine, unload this motorcycle on a freeway doing 120 miles an hour. You should probably worry a little bit because you're not gonna last very long, right? So worry has some usefulness. But then on the way back from San Diego, we're driving, super speed limit, and there's a person on the freeway driving 45 miles an hour. You should probably worry a little less, right? So, you know, if you don't worry at all, you're gonna be in trouble. right? You're gonna hurt yourself or some other people. If you worry too much, you're gonna be paralyzed. So there's this kind of sweet spot, right? There's a sweet spot of saying, yes, if you care about yourself or you care about others, you're probably gonna worry, and that's probably okay. If you're a human being with a human brain, you're wired for worry because it needs to keep you alive, and that's okay. But we don't want to be consumed by worry. We don't want to be paralyzed by worry, and that's what Jesus is talking about here, right? Don't be mastered by worries, but instead, master your worries. Master your worries. How can we do that? Because a lot of you who are worriers, a lot of you who are carrying stresses right now, you might be saying to yourself, this sounds impossible. I can't master my worries. If 95% of my brain doesn't even involve me, it's just this thing that's working, looking for threats, and it just dumps worries and stresses into my consciousness every once in a while, how am I supposed to control 95% of my brain? Well, it is possible. It is possible. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not gonna be overnight. It takes time. Your brain is like a muscle. It has to be retrained, you know? You don't get these guns without some work, right? You just don't, it takes work. I know that was a joke. This takes work. Your brain can be literally rewired. That's not an analogy. Brain science is saying your brain can literally be rewired. And that 5% consciousness can rewire all of it. But it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of work. The Apostle Paul was dealing with his own stresses. He was ministering to both the Jewish people and the Greeks, the non-Jewish people. And they were having a heck of a time getting along. You know, Jewish people have the Old Testament, and they're obeying the Old Testament, and the Greeks, the Roman Empire, did not have the Old Testament. They did not practice the Old Testament, but they're both trying to follow Jesus. And so here's these two totally different cultures trying to follow Jesus, and they are not getting along with each other. So Paul steps in, and Paul says, hey, listen, you guys can get along. You are at war with each other. I'm gonna teach you how to get along. And what that means is Paul stepped in the middle of their conflict, and so everybody started hating Paul, the Jews and the Gentiles. And so in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, Paul is saying, hey, listen, I'm not a big fan of anybody. Let me rephrase that. Everybody's not a big fan of me. And he was dealing with the stress of that. So here's what he says, get this. I will take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ. Did you get that? The Jews are attacking Paul. And his mom is Jewish, so he has all the rights and privileges of a Jew. He was raised a Jew, he's a Jewish leader, and yet all the Jews are hating on him, and he's feeling this hatred towards him. He says, I'm gonna take that thought captive. I'm gonna make it obedient to Christ. The Greeks, the Romans, they're not liking Paul very much. He is, trying to ask them to respect the Jewish people, and that's not going well. So he's dealing with all of that stress, right? Because he's the full Roman citizen, having all the rights and privileges of Rome. They're hating on him. What does that feel like, right? So he's getting stress on both sides, and he says, I am gonna take every thought captive. And then he just starts declaring things. And as he starts declaring things, he's rewiring his brain to get the emotional stress and worry of his life. I mean, this guy was getting beat up. He was getting imprisoned. He was, rocks were thrown at him. He was gonna be executed by rocks. He was under threat of arrest to go to Rome, to be crucified or beheaded. I mean, this is this guy's life. You talk about stress. Let's get my stress resume compared to Paul's stress resume, and it ain't even close. And he's saying, I'm gonna take these thoughts captive. I'm gonna rewire my brain. I had an opportunity to practice this about, 7 or 8 years ago. I had a little mole go sideways here in my arm. And I went to the doctor and said, hey, this isn't looking quite right. He goes, it'll be nothing. Whenever a doctor says, it'll be nothing, I don't respect doctors. But then I saw it grow, and I went back to the doctor, I think it's growing. It's fine, you'll be good, It's nothing. Went back a third time. So my stress level's getting higher. I've got a family with some, skin cancer history, and so I just want to be on top of a couple things. And the third time, he says, it's probably nothing, but let's take a biopsy. Takes it, 2 days later, he calls and says, you have melanoma, which is the mother of all skin cancers, right? So I thought, okay, my anxiety went from a 2 or 3 immediately to a 7. I looked online, melanoma, it went to an 1100 out of 10. And all the thoughts, I'm dead, right? It just start pouring in. And I had to battle this stuff because your brain's looking for threats. Now you have a diagnosed threat. Some of you are dealing with this right now. Some of you have gone through this in the past. This is what your brain does. Now there's a real threat, a real diagnosed threat, and what do, right? So I had to practice this stuff. This became more than a sermon. It became something I have to live because your head starts thinking weird things, especially at night, right? Maybe my wife's gonna have to bury her husband. Maybe my kids who are younger at the time are not gonna, be raised with their dad. These are the things that start popping up, and you gotta wrestle with that, right? And so I had to start kind of installing different thoughts. And one of the thoughts was not that I'm gonna be okay. I never at once thought I'm gonna be okay, because maybe I wouldn't be okay. I don't wanna lie to myself. Lying to yourself is of no value. You can put happy thoughts in your brain, fantastic, but if the next doctor visit isn't so good, then what have you done? Now you've just discouraged yourself. So I don't think we need to lie to ourselves with positive, happy thinking. But what I did was try to install every single day during this, first diagnosis and then treatment, try to install every single day the good things, right? What did Jesus say? If your focus is good, your life will be filled with light. Good doesn't mean all positive, all happy all the time, because sometimes life isn't all positive, all happy all the time. So to be able to say, listen, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay or not, but I know right now I feel okay. Right now, this very moment, I feel okay. Right now, I feel great. Right now, I've got this wonderful wife that I can enjoy right here, right now, today. I've got these incredible kids. I've got this job I love. I'm going to live, like really live today. And so that smile on my face is real, and that day is real, even though there's these nagging worries swirling in my head. Now, fortunately, they caught it early. There was treatment, and I've been in the clear for several years. I got to go for a checkup once a year. Some of you guys are still in that zone with your own diagnosis and your own health problems. 1 year later, there was a spot in my eye, and if you have melanoma and a spot in your dumb green eyes, it's tough. And again, they dealt with it, moved on, right? But it's how we deal with the stresses. It's how we deal with these worries that mean everything. And one of the thoughts I put in my brain back then, and still now, is Treadway, why traumatize yourself over something that hasn't happened yet? That's what worry is. Worry is traumatizing ourselves over something that hasn't happened yet. And in our brain, we're thinking, okay, what's the worst that can happen in my job? What's the worst that can happen with our finances? What terrible things could my kids do? Is my marriage gonna last? I mean, all these worries. And some of those are legitimate, right? You gotta scan the world for threats for sure. But when we invest in that worry, now we are traumatizing ourselves over something that hasn't even happened. These bad thoughts that come in from the 95% of our brain that's subconscious, they're like rats that just pop up out of nowhere. This is rat season, right? This is rat season, this is rattlesnake season in Temecula, California. Spiders are coming next. Online people, it's just the way it is. I don't know your neck of the woods. But for us, rats are coming out right now. Mice and rats, it's just the season. And we have chickens in our backyard. Rats love chicken food. They love chicken eggs, they love anything chicken, right? So we've got chickens out there, and the rats come out, and it's a battle. I went out with my phone and my flashlight, and I'm gonna find these suckers. And so, you go out behind the thing, and you're just like, how many of them are out there? And I put the flashlight on them, and they all look at me with their demon eyes, and then they scurry, right? I go back in the house to give a report. Jenny, there's like 12 of them out there. And it's game on. They're gonna die. It is me versus those rats, and they're gonna die. Now, if you're a rat lover, let me know, because as I get them, they're going to your house. But I'm getting them. They will not make it. I am getting them. Now, that involves a lot of work. It involves a lot of effort. But rats are like these bad thoughts. They just pop up, right? And these guys are boogers. They are persistent, and they are pesky, and a lot of them show up at night, right? And these are the things that swirl around in our brain. Can I pay our bills? What if I lose my job? What if we lose everything? What if I don't have enough money? What if we can't do well in retirement? What will my mother think? What will the neighbors think? What will my friends think of me? Well, I say something stupid. What if my kids get hurt? What if they rebel? What if they ruin their lives? What if they take drugs? What if my marriage falls apart? What if when I get married, my husband or wife is a total jerk? What if, and our brains just swirl with these rat-like thoughts that just pop up, right? And they swirl around in our brain. And there's some things that we can do to grab a hold of those. As the Apostle Paul said, we're going to take these thoughts captive. They will not win. They will not survive. It takes that kind of determination. This is all backed not only by Jesus, but by science. You ready? Identify the worry. What are the rats swarming your brain? I know that's a pleasant analogy, but what are the rats of negative thoughts swarming your brain? What are you worried about right now? Just whisper to yourself. What are you worried about right now? What are the rats swirling around your brain? Your family, your finances, what people think of you, whatever. Identify that and own it. Don't just, I can't worry about it. Don't forget, own it. I mean, like, stare those rats in their demon eyes. What am I worried about? Own it. Look at them back and say, listen, I'm going to trap you and I'm going to get you. You will not win. And I'm not joking around. This is cognitive therapy, by the way. Jesus talks about, really honing our minds into the good. The Apostle Paul says, I'm going to take these thoughts captive. It's cognitive therapy. So for those of you who are therapists, live or online, you know this is your everyday life. You're trying to get people to identify their negative thoughts, seize those negative thoughts, kill those negative thoughts, and replace them with something better, with something that is more positive. Replace the worry. Identify the worry, trap the worry, replace the worry. Replace the worry. 3:46 a.m. when I woke up a couple of nights ago, this random negative thought was just piercing my brain from my subconscious. I did count through it, trying to replace it. A more spiritual thing for your pastor to have done would have been to pray through it. And this is something that's also in Scripture. Sometimes when that negative thought just hits, pray, pray, pray. Someone I love deeply called having an anxiety problem. And this is what we talked this person through. Just pray, pray. I know you're having trouble breathing right now, but pray. I know these rats of negative thoughts are all in your brain right now. Just pray. Thank God right now for every single thing you're thankful for. If you get overwhelmed by worry and anxiety and the stresses of life, there's not a better thing you can do than just pray right through it. And I know that sounds cliche, and it's not. If you wake up in the middle of the night with negative thoughts, pray, God, I am thankful for this. I'm thankful for this. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your goodness. Thank you that you never leave me. Thank you for my amazing church. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my friends. And just thank you for the roof over my head. Thank you for the food. And just thank yourself to sleep. And that is the most beautiful thing you could do, is thank yourself to sleep. And just know, as you are praying and getting yourself centered and getting your worry kind of centered and your anxieties kind of centered, you pray yourself to sleep, just know that God is over your bed like a loving Heavenly Father, and He just wants you to relax and He wants you to go to sleep praying to Him, just thanking Him for the things that you have in your life. And if we do that over and over and over again, not just in the middle of the night, but even as a part of our day, just thank God, you are good, you are kind, you are with me, you never leave me. I've got support around me, I've got my friends, I've got my family. God, there's so much to be thankful for. You will start seeing your brain change and heal from the stresses and anxieties and worries of life. It boils down to simply living in the present. Living in the present. Living in this very moment. Living with the understanding that I am not going to relive trauma that has already passed, and I am not going to live in trauma that hasn't come. I'm not going to live in the past that is gone. The only evidence of the past is this brain's memories. That's it. It's gone. I'm not going to live in the trauma that hasn't come yet. I'm not going to invent scenarios to be anxious about. God, would you give me the strength to live in the present, right here and right now? Someone who is very wise in this area said this: now is all there ever is. Now, right now, is all there ever is. The past is just memory, and the future is just anticipation. So cherish now. Take pleasure in now. Enjoy now. Live only in now. The past is just memory. Live only in now. The future is just anticipation. They matter, but really live now. As the band comes up, we're going to sing one final song that just nails this subject, but I also want to read to you a text from a good buddy of mine. His name is Juno, and he's a pastor friend in Orange County, and I love this guy. His life has had some tragedy. About 10 years ago, he lost his wife, Bonnie. He treasured Bonnie. They had a teenage daughter at the time. And so he's been living with the daily weight of the grief of losing his cherished Bonnie. And he sent me this text on Friday, and it so perfectly nails this sermon. It so perfectly nails this sermon, I went and redid the sermon based on the text, right? So this guy is living out what we're talking about in the most powerful and profound way I can imagine. Listen to how he handles both the stressful things of life, his relationship with God, and living in the now. Here's his text. Hey, buddy. Today would have been my 33rd anniversary. I'll not ignore my loss. I'll try to watch our wedding video before I go to bed tonight. I'll be reminded of what was, but I won't worship the past. While life is indeed different, it is still good. I'll try to focus on God's goodness and faithfulness, that I've been blessed by many incredible friends. I've been gifted with a great relationship with my daughter, with my son-in-law, and now a precious grandson. I love what I do in church, and I'm blessed to live another day. Isn't that cool? That's everything we talked about. It's this man who has lived with some tragedy, some deep tragedy and some deep loss, who understands what it's like to hold the past, but not be mastered by it. What it's like to think about the future, but not be enslaved by it. To be able to live right here, right now, in the pleasure of God's love for him, proven by the gift of Jesus Christ, who gave his very life for us, to show us how loved we are, and then to know that God is right here with him in every moment so we can enjoy today. Evan, we're going to sing a song called Jireh, and I have to admit, I was not a fan of this song when you first introduced it to us.
You were not, no. But it's okay, you know, there's grace.
It's okay, there is grace. You, I think, texted me or called me on a Saturday and said, you're probably going to hate this song.
Yeah, I did. And I also coupled that together with, this is going to be a big song, though. This is going to be a good song. Ranch is going to love this song.
You and Megan both assured me.
Yeah, and it's so weird to be so right all the time. It's just hard. It's a hard life.
You and Megan were both right, but you know, there's a couple of reasons I didn't grab onto this song real quick, but it became very popular in this church. It topped the charts, like nationwide, globally, and it was just played on the Grammys. So it is a song that has really captured not only our church, but captured not just the Christian community, but really the world in many respects, because it talks about the Sermon on the Mount. It specifically talks about when Jesus says, hey, listen, God takes care of the lilies. He's going to take care of you. God treasures you even in the anxious times of life. So lead us on.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's all stand.
I'll never be more loved than I am right now. Wasn't holding you up, so there's nothing I can do to let you down. Doesn't take a trophy to make you proud. I'll never be more loved than I am right now.
Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out.
You would cross an ocean so I wouldn't drown.
You've never been closer than you are right now.
Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. I will be content in every circumstance, 'cause you are Jireh, you are enough. Forever enough, always enough, always more than enough. Hey, forever enough, always enough, always more than enough. And I don't wanna forget how I feel right now on the mountaintop. I can see so clear what it's all about. So stay by my side till the sun goes down. Don't wanna forget how I feel right now. And Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. And I will be content in every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough. Forever enough, always enough, always more than enough. You're forever enough, always enough, always more than enough. Come on, church, let's just declare this truth together. If he dresses the lilies, sing this out, say.
If he dresses the lilies with beauty and splendor, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? If he watches over every sparrow, how much more does he love you? How much more does he love you? If he dresses the lilies with beauty and splendor, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? If he watches over every sparrow, how much more does he love you? How much more?
It's more than you ask, think or imagine. According to his power, working it out. It's more than enough. More than you ask, think or imagine. According to his power, working it out. It's more than enough. Say Jireh, Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. And I will be content even in this every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough. Come on, sing. Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. And I will be content in every circumstance, 'cause you are Jireh, you are enough. And I will be content in every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. So Jireh is the name of God that means our provider. And so for many of you who are maybe a little bit trapped by worry, the stresses of life and anxieties of life, there is help. There's help in God. There's help in the teaching of Jesus. There's help with one another to be able to connect with each other. And so if you have any needs whatsoever, you want those burdens borne with somebody who loves you, we have men and women over there in the prayer corner who would love to pray with you. And there's also a ton of ways to get connected around here as well.
Yeah, and today's a special day because we're doing baptisms right outside.
Right.
So maybe today is a day where you just want to take that step and kind of say to everyone, I'm in.
Yep, so baptism is a beautiful symbol of being cleansed and covered and immersed by God's grace and love through Jesus Christ and raised to live a new life. So right now, happening out there, Pastor Steve's gonna be out there, heated pool, make sure to get baptized if you wanna profess your faith today.
Steve Solon's out there, so go join him and maybe celebrate with all of those who do choose to do that. It'll be a fun time. Also on your way out, our Rancho Gear store is open, so you can get your Rancho Gear and you can support Thrive Special Ministries. Our theater kids are out there selling tickets for their upcoming performance.
A lot going on. We also have men's ministry and women's ministry happening this week. They're out there in the information booth as well. So next week is the biggest day of the year. It is Mother's Day.
That's right.
So you got to be here. We got a gift for Mom, and look forward to seeing you then. God bless you. Look forward
Have
to
a
seeing you
great week.
next
Thanks for
week.
joining
Take care.
us. Amen.
I live your life calling my name, and I came running home. Made you the king over my pain. You helped me let it go. Now I know that I know that I know that you are for real. 'Cause your love hit me straight to my heart. Yeah, this is for real. Everything I have is yours, Jesus, 'cause you gave it all. Heaven opened up my eyes. Giving it, I hear you calling me closer and closer. Everything I have is yours. You made my life into something beautiful. No looking back to the old me. No matter what I feel. Now I know that I know that I know that you are for real. 'Cause your love hit me straight to my heart. Yeah, this is for real. Everything I have is yours, Jesus, 'cause you gave it all. Heaven opened up my eyes. Now I see that you are God. Everything I have is yours, Jesus, 'cause you gave it all. Heaven opened up my eyes. Giving it, I hear you calling me closer and closer. Everything I have is yours. Heaven's eyes on us now. Fill this place. Fill this space. Heaven's eyes on us now. Fill this place.